This episode is sponsored by Omega Bright Wellness. Get a free bottle of Omega Bright CBD Full Spectrum Soft Gels with free shipping when you buy one bottle of their 7010 MD Omega 3. Use offer code NED, that's my name, Ned, at omegabrightwellness.com. Distraction is also sponsored by Landmark College in Putney, Vermont, the college of choice for students who learn differently. Learn more at lcdistraction.org.
I love you. Da 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 da. Yeah, I do. Da 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 da.
It's very demoralizing for me when I come up with a new idea. Let's start a goat farm tomorrow morning, and have her say that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So we each try to manage the other's expectations a little bit, and it's, we've been married how many years? 28 years.
It'll be 28 years September 17th.
Yeah, we're still working at it. Hello, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell, and welcome to Distraction, the podcast. Today we have a very special episode because my wife is joining us. My wife, Sue, has joined us in the past and made for one of our most popular episodes ever, and so we've invited her back. By way of introduction, Sue is my wife of 28 years, the mother of our 3 children, now 28, 25, 22. But professionally, she is a licensed independent clinical social worker, LICSW, has been in practice for 30 years, is really, honestly, the best clinician I know. She is truly, and I know I'm biased, but I mean it, she's remarkable. She's incredibly empathic, incredibly warm, but also very decisive, incisive, and smart. She specializes in couples, particularly couples where one or both members have the wonderfully interesting condition called ADD. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you. It's such a privilege to be here. I'm really happy to be asked back.
Well, the privilege is ours. And with that, we will take our first caller. I'm very happy to welcome a caller by the name of Suda. Hello, Suda.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, hi, Suda. How are you?
Nice to meet you, Sue.
Nice to meet
you. Thanks for having me on your show with Dr. Hallowell.
Well, it's nice to have you here.
Where are you calling from, Suda?
Pennsylvania.
And how can we help you?
Well, I've been with my husband for 22 years, and he was diagnosed late in life with ADHD. So I listen a lot to ADHD podcasts, and I've learned a lot about it. But I still struggle with a few things. One of those is how you would respond. Like, how do you respond when your ADHD spouse comes to you with like a new idea, a new hobby, or a new business venture? I know that I should respond positively, but I still have a hard time with it. Sometimes I maybe question a little bit too much, and I think it comes across as being negative.
I'm only laughing because this comes up in our coupledom all the time.
Yes. And my questions generally revolve around the time commitment and money. So I just wondering, do you have any thoughts on how to respond positively and be supportive, but still be able to get your questions answered?
Well, as Sue said, this comes up between Sue and me all the time. So let you, Sue. How do you handle me when I come up with a new idea? And,
Often, probably like you, almost automatically, I come up with, oh, yes, but. And one of the things that Ned and I have talked about over the years is that drives him absolutely crazy. And it's my own anxiety that gets perpetuated immediately, and I feel as if it's happening right now, that if I don't respond in a responsible way right then, that we are going to have something happen that's beyond my control without even being beyond a blink of an eye. So what I've really tried to learned to do is just suppress that part of myself and realize that what's most important first is to just be enthusiastic and say, geez, that's a great idea. Tell me more about it. Wow, that's so interesting. Because there's going to be time for questions. It isn't going to happen immediately. And if I take the time and talk about what's good about the idea or really hear what he's thinking about it, then he's often much more responsive when I do say, well, but have you thought about this or have you thought about that? But if I bring up those concerns immediately, he's not going to listen to me, and it just leads to a fight.
Right. It shuts down pretty quickly in my household, too.
That's exactly right. But for me, it really is, and I don't know if this is true for you, but I just want to underscore it's my own anxiety about things getting out of control that leads me to respond so quickly. And sometimes, actually, if I stop and I really listen to him, he's already considered a lot of things that I didn't even know he'd thought about. Or as he talks about it, sometimes he can see the issues himself. And so that has helped a lot. Would you agree, Ned?
Yeah, I rely on Sue to be the brakes. My analogy of ADD is I've got a Ferrari engine for a brain with bicycle brakes. And so I've spent a lifetime trying to strengthen my brakes. And one of the ways I've strengthened my brakes is by marrying Sue, because she doesn't have a runaway brain, and she is able to put on the brakes. And what I have to learn to do is take her temperance as just that, instead of thinking of her as the official wet blanket, to instead say, yeah, you're right, we can't, immediately open a goat farm tomorrow morning in our backyard, and it does take some planning. And so I've tried to learn to appreciate her putting on the brakes, just as she's tried to learn to appreciate my new ideas and not, rain on the parade right off the bat, because it's very demoralizing for me when I come up with a new idea. Let's start a goat farm tomorrow morning, and have her say that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So we each try to manage the other's expectations a little bit, and it's we've been married how many years? 28 years. It'll
be 28 years September 17th.
Yeah, we're still working at it.
That's right.
And I still get upset when she bursts my balloon, and she still gets upset when I go off half-cocked with yet another new idea.
And may I say that sometimes your half-cocked ideas have turned out to be pretty fabulous things down the line. It's just taken a little bit of a slower process with it. And, as you said, sometimes my temperance has helped us maybe stay out of a little bit of trouble sometimes.
Well, and also, I'm not the only one with ideas. For example, I'm just finishing a memoir that I've spent the past 2 years writing. It's completely different from anything I've ever written. And the only reason I wrote it was Sue telling me, you really ought to write a memoir. You really ought to write something totally different from all the other books you've written. And only with her encouragement and only with her, assuring me that people might actually want to read it, was I able to get up the courage to write the proposal and sell the idea, and now I'm just finishing the book. So sometimes she comes up with the bright ideas, and I'm the one who needs to be encouraged.
Right.
Thank you so much for calling in. And
it's really great talking with you.
Thank you,
Yes,
Sudha.
thank you so much.
Take care.
I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
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 Okay, next up, we have a question from Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. This is Ned. Where are we reaching you?
I am just outside of Portland, Oregon, in a little town called Lake Oswego.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Well, welcome to Distraction, and how can we help you?
Okay. Well, my question is around the mindful parenting courses that I've been seeing an awful lot of, both online, you can take them online or you can take them in person. And I've been seeing those on, different ADHD sites and mostly on the parenting sites. Very recently, I started practicing mindfulness and meditation for myself to help kind of manage my 9-year-old ADHD son, and it's helped quite a bit.
Right.
We're having fewer power struggles, mostly because I feel like I'm stopping and taking a breath. So my question is, what's your take on these course offerings? Do you think they offer a more directed plan for parenting a complex kid?
Before we comment, I'd like to hear you describe what has been in the course. And by the way, when I hear mindful parenting, I always think, so what's the opposite? Mindless parenting? I mean,
well, that's what we do a lot of the time, Ned. We often do mindless parenting.
So
I think they call that autopilot.
There you go.
So tell us, what is in the course? What have you learned? What are they advising you to do?
Well, some of the modules involve, obviously there's a module on mindfulness, and meditation and, being able to step back, kind of do the old school count to 10 routine. Uh-huh. They talk about effective communication, and communicating with your child more on their level, and not, don't let them push your buttons. I mean, several of the courses have, they're anywhere from 6 to 10 or 12 different modules that you can go through, and some of them are self-paced online, and some of them are in person, where they do like a webcast. So, I mean, there's several different pieces involved with the courses.
Right.
My take on it is what's not to like. I mean, they're advising you to learn skills of self-soothing, of breathing, of meditating, of being in the moment, of being patient, of, waiting and not engaging in struggles. And if the adjective applied to it is mindful, fine. You could call it patient parenting. You could call it taking a deep breath parenting. I think most of these kinds of courses have a lot to offer simply by allowing you a forum to step back and ponder and consider what you're doing as a parent. And the oldest job in the world. The most important thing. Sue and I have 3 kids, and most important thing we've ever done was raise those. And some days we were mindful, and some days we were mindless. And but I think these courses, by and large, they're all good. I mean, unless they're recommending terrible things, but by and large, I think what they provide is support and certain techniques that are time tested. Goodness knows, breathing and meditation have been around for thousands of years, and learning forbearance with kids who are by nature rambunctious, and we all need support, a guide and someone to worry with, and so you feel more confident and less stressed.
Okay,
I would basically agree. I mean, I think I heard in one of your questions was you've already taken some mindfulness courses.
Well, I haven't actually taken the courses yet. I was more wondering if would this be a good model to follow, or am I in just as good a place in the different little tidbits and things that I've stumbled across kind of on the web?
First of all, I think that I love groups where you can interact with other parents.
Okay.
Because I think that is one of the most healing things that can happen, no matter what the techniques are, right? I think that just being able to have the opportunity to interact with other people who are struggling with the same kinds of issues with your child is most important. We run this camp in Michigan every year, a week. It's called ADHD Family Camp, and the kids work with this master educator who does a wonderful program with the kids. And the parents work with Ned, and I come in one day. But I always like to joke when I talk to families and say, even though, Ned's giving you information and talking with you, what the most important thing is the interactions that you get with the other parents and what you learn from them. Okay. So you can read the tidbits and you can get information, but it's the connection. And also having to be able to practice some of it really makes a difference.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you.
There's a wonderful book, if you want a book along these lines, by Shefali Sarberry.
Okay.
If you go to Amazon and look up Shefali Sarberry, her books are wonderful.
And Cindy Goldrich.
There's another author, Cindy Goldrich, and her parenting course is terrific.
Calm and Connected Parenting.
So those two books, those two authors, both Sue and I know and endorse.
And Cindy actually not only has a book, she also runs a Calm and Connected Parenting workshop that people really love.
But it's on the East Coast, so it's not exactly convenient for you.
But it's a webinar.
Oh, it's a webinar. Oh,
she does both
okay.
in-house and webinar.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific then.
Oh, very good. Thank you so much for your insight. I really appreciate it.
Well, and thank you for giving us a call, and
good luck.
Nice to talk to you. Good luck.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so Sarah, I understand there's a new offer from our wonderful sponsor, Omega Bright Wellness.
Yes, there is, and we're really excited. I like to call it the Ned Pack because they're basically our listeners are going to have the chance to take what you take every day. So all you have to do is add the Omega Bright 7010 MD Omega 3 to your cart at omegabrightwellness.com. And if you use the coupon code NED, your name, NED, it'll automatically add a free bottle of Omega Bright CBD Full Spectrum 25 milligrams soft gels to the cart, and you get free shipping. So pretty cool.
Ah, that's an excellent offer. I'm so glad they're using my name not in vain, but to bring people to this wonderful product. It is a wonderful product. It makes it
nice and easy.
Yeah, and my wife really, if they really want to get someone who loves it, they should get my wife Sue on, because she's very skeptical about all kinds of things. I mean, she laughs at me for the various stuff I take, but this is one that she absolutely swears by. So I'm glad to know. So they just go and they to omegabrightwellness.com and put in the code NED and they get all this cool stuff.
Yep, they just have to add the Omega Bright 7010 MD Omega 3 to their cart, and then with the promo code, they'll automatically get the free CBD Full Spectrum 25 milligram soft gels. They'll get free shipping, and I should note that this is limited to the first 250 distraction listeners, so people kind of got to move on it if they're interested.
Okay, and the offer code is NED.
That's right, NED.
Very good. Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Well, now I'd like to welcome Christian to Distraction.
Hi, Christian.
Hi.
Thanks for calling.
Where are we catching you? Where are you?
I live in Massachusetts.
You have Sue and me together. What can we do for you?
So my question for you guys is, my wife, Michelle, we've been married 16, almost 17 years, and she has ADD, and I think I have ADD as well, but Michelle has like a real severe case of it. So it's frustrating for me as a spouse where lots of times when Michelle has great intentions, she'll say, I'll do this for you, or I'll run this errand. And I'm like, okay. And I count on her to do it, and then it doesn't happen. And that happens often. And I know she doesn't do it deliberately. It's just she gets caught up with a lot of things going on in her head. But I guess my question is, how can I don't want to be frustrated anymore, and I don't want our kids to kind of sense that from me, because then unfairly they may internalize that and think that, mom just lets them down. So I guess that's my biggest question.
Well, my first question is her ADD being treated?
It is. Yes, she sees a doctor, I think once a month, and she works on it. She listens to your podcast. She reads a lot, and I got to be honest, she wants me to read a book, and I haven't read it for the spouse to, so I also have to do my part as well. But yeah, she is being treated for it.
Is she taking medication?
She is. And if I have it correctly, I think it's called, is it Ativan? No.
Adderall. All right. The biggest mistake that people make is they don't get maximum mileage out of the medication. The medication is by far the easiest intervention we've got. There's plenty of other things you can do, but if you are open to using medication, and really the medical facts are tremendously reassuring along those lines, then once you start, you've got to titrate the dose so you get target symptom improvement with no side effects. And that can take some backing and filling. If she's forgetting stuff, it sounds to me as if the medication dosing should at least be looked at, if not revised, because it's a shame to, it's like having the wrong prescription eyeglasses. You don't get the best results. or the wrong shoe size. You really you want to make sure that she's getting the maximum mileage from the medication. And then the second suggestion is for you to sit down with someone like me or Sue. You could see either one of us. I'm in Sudbury, she's in Cambridge, and do some couples coaching.
Right.
Because
that's a good idea.
I'll let Sue take over with that.
So I have some, medication, though I absolutely agree with you. It does have its limitations, and people can be adequately medicated with. Still, these issues come up. What kinds of things does she? Can you say a little bit more about what you notice or what happens?
Just like it can be any task, like household things. Like I'll do the groceries, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like I like to do the groceries because just with my experience with her, like I'll go and get everything that's on the list. But when I give her the list, she comes back with like 1/3 of it, and then she's like, well, I forgot this. And if she says like, it could be any like household chore, like I'll do the laundry or I'll do the bills or something. Lots of times she just forget, like she just doesn't get it done. Yeah. And I know that she doesn't do it deliberately. I know that she's not doing it because I don't want to do laundry. Like no one really wants to do laundry.
Right.
I think her mind is so preoccupied with a lot of things that she just literally forgets.
Is she working? Or
she works part-time, yep.
She does. So she's out of the house some, because one of the challenges that I've seen with a lot of people, women with ADHD who are at home, is they feel like they need to be home because they have ADD and they can't manage everything. But the unstructured life at home actually in many ways is much harder for them than if they actually had more of a structure.
Right. It's funny you mention that because she worked at home for a while and then she did a home daycare, and that was a lot. She did it for like 7 years and then she stopped. And then she took a break from working, and she always said that when she works and she gets out of the house and she works, she can put 100% focus onto like work tasks. Mm-hmm. When she gets home, she has a very difficult time. Yeah, right. So she definitely, what you just said, is definitely true for her.
Right. The structure really makes a huge difference.
Right.
And so the more that structure can be built into things, the better she will do.
Right.
The other thing is to really talk with her about what she is good at and what she's not so good at. One of the things that people with ADD and not that means she doesn't have to do anything, but really playing to what her strengths are around the house is much better than having her do things that she's really not good at. That can help. Also, don't pick up the pieces so much. So if she forgets things at the grocery store, instead of you taking over going to the grocery store or going back from her, one of the mistakes people make is they begin to overcompensate for their partner.
Right.
And then their partner ends up sort of feeling crappy about themselves, really, because they feel like they're never quite doing everything they're supposed to do. And I understand that it's frustrating and you worry about, well, are things going to fall between the cracks? Well, you have to think about what's good enough versus what is your idea of how things need to be. Because sometimes, you have to look at what your style is and what's important to you. Because sometimes, with an ADD family, it's not going to look like other families. And it's what's good enough and what needs to get done and how to do it, as opposed to this is the way it's supposed to be.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And we've done that recently. We've like she enjoys doing the finances and taking care of those things. And she does a great job at it, and she does a lot of things with the kids' school. Our kids started going to private school this year, so she's taken a lot of those tasks.
How old are your kids?
14 and 12. Our daughter's dyslexic, and our son has like processing, like executive function things going on. They both have made tremendous strides just in one academic year. It's been a blessing for us. But Michelle has been really in charge with that and advocating for the kids. And so we've done that in the last few years. We've focused on trying to give her structure, I guess, without even thinking about it.
And raising kids with issues like your kids have, don't underestimate how much time and effort that takes. And it sounds like she does a terrific job at that. And
she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And so focusing on that. And, if you have resources, filling in the places that she doesn't do as well. Or I'll tell you a story of this one couple I see. He is someone who would really get very upset when his wife would they had one small child and she would put the plastic plates that he was eating on in the dishwasher, which he felt was not a good thing because of health benefits. He felt and they would go, and she would really mean not to do it, but then would forget she has ADD and would put it in. And it was just this struggle, and she didn't want to do it, but she would forget. So I finally said to them, I said, well, why don't you just stop using these plastic plates?
Right.
And that sounds so simple-minded, but they both looked at me like I had given them a magic wand and, made it all. And so now they have, these more glass, these pottery that are sturdy and that she can put them in the dishwasher. And yes, they break sometimes, but it's really made a major improvement. So I'm saying that you have to sometimes think outside the box a little bit. And
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and it's we've been married 16 years, and thank God our marriage is great, and she's phenomenal. And we've had two different upbringings, so that's also another thing. Life isn't always the same as when you were a kid.
That's right.
But just this short conversation with you guys, it makes me think a little bit more.
Wonderful.
And I agree 100%. I think it can only be a benefit for us to talk to, a psychologist or a doctor like you guys in terms of figuring out different methods to help us. Because if we just try to do it on our own, sometimes
someone who has experience with ADD, a little coaching,
right?
Just
exactly.
A couple of sessions can go a long way. Strategies and
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you so much for calling, and good luck. And
thank you, Christian.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. I want to recommend to you Landmark College. It's the college of choice for students who learn differently. Go to lcdistraction.org to learn more. That's LC for Landmark College, distraction.org to learn more. It's a really wonderful, special place in beautiful Putney, Vermont. It's bucolic. But what goes on there is unique. It is a truly specialized learning environment for people who have the conditions I've got, ADHD and dyslexia, for us to learn how best to acquire knowledge and also to express our own ideas. It's a marvelously talented, sympathetic, lively faculty. The courses are rigorous, but also wonderfully forgiving if you have one of these conditions. Please go to Landmark College, lcdistraction.org to learn more and feed yourself with the banquet you'll find there. Okay, let's get back to the show. Now, Sue and I are going to speak with a distraction listener who reached out to us by the name of Janine. Hello, Janine.
Hi, Dr. Hallowell. Hi, Susan. I'm so delighted to talk with you both.
So what can we do for you today?
Well, you know what? It's interesting because when I got your initial email that you were exploring, marriage issues, it was a week before our 30th wedding anniversary, and the question really came to mind is, how on earth did I make it this far, or we make it this far? Because I never thought we'd be celebrating 30, although we both are really stubborn. And but there were times when I thought there's no way. And I guess one of the big things that has helped us survive and be stronger is you in my life. your podcast, your books, and back in 2011, I was part of your summer intensive at Leelanau School, and that was really my first jump into this crazy ADHD brain, and can I understand it? Because that's when my son had been diagnosed. I think what I wrote you about is just being grateful that you were there as a resource and that you really focused on the connection piece, because that was another big way that we have made it through. Is we have a group of friends that we camp with all the time, and we just grew, our families and our kids grew up together, and they accept us for who we are, but they hold us accountable.
Yeah.
So that's critical.
It's so important. And, you know, I want to say something about when you said, how did we stay married for 30 years? And one of my favorite answers to that, Ned and I had these very close friends, Priscilla Vale and her husband, who were, about 10 years older than us? Maybe even 15 years older than us. And Priscilla described this evening one time that it was she and her husband and these three other couples. And between them, they were probably married 200 years, just an enormous amount of time. And they discussed, they wanted to talk about why did we stay married, or what keeps people together when so many people divorce. And everybody went around, and, some people said a sense of humor or respect or all these things. And Donald, her husband, went last, and he said, it's the determination to stay married.
That's so true.
And, I think that it's really, you're a testament to that, right? That you and your husband, it's not always been easy, but you kept trying to go back and solve the problems or solve the issues and try different ways of looking at it, it sounds like, and having a connected life with people outside of yourself so you didn't get so insular. I think that, if you hadn't had that determination, you can call it stubbornness or you can call it determination, then you may not have been a family that survived, and wouldn't that be unfortunate?
It would be.
Now, after 30 years of marriage, what's the upside? We've talked about sort of grim determination, but what's the?
Hey! I didn't say grim determination.
What's the joy?
You are terrible.
What's the fun? What's the joy?
Okay, you guys make me laugh, and that's fun.
Really?
It's interesting now that our sons are almost launched and pretty much on their own. Just our intimate life is probably better than it ever been, because there was a time when, we could go months and months without sex, because first we didn't like each other very well at that point, and who had any kind of you just fake it, and that wasn't fun. So, that part of our life wasn't really active, and that has reemerged in our 60s, which, believe it or not.
And I have a question. I often find, and I don't know if this is true for you, but so many couples, when they're struggling, they really just focus on what their partner is doing wrong or what makes them unhappy about their partner. And
yes.
I think that when people are able to finally stop and, sounds like you did a little bit, take stock of, what's good and what's not good and what do I really want, then sometimes you're able to say, okay, what can I do differently?
Exactly. I was spending a lot of time being the martyr and blaming and...
people fight that because they think, well, no, but I'm right in what I believe. And I often say to people, being right is sometimes not the best thing in a relationship. It's really, sometimes it's more important to pay attention to what works for the relationship rather than being right or not. And maybe you don't have to react to every little thing, whether you're right or wrong.
And I felt so justified in pointing them all out. It felt really good, but it didn't get to the end goal of us really being a better couple and enjoying each other.
Right.
And
It's funny. I remember a woman I saw years and years ago, and she worked in the corporate world, and she was absolutely brilliant. But she wasn't getting promoted to the level that she really deserved until she figured out why. And she said, I used to go into meetings with the sole purpose of being right. And I was the smartest person in the room. I had done the most preparation. But my way of being right was to make everyone else feel wrong. Yeah. And she said, now I'm a recovering righteous bitch. She said, when I was able to not have to be right and allow other people their say, everything changed. And I think that's true in couples. Being right is really overrated. Getting along, is what you want to do.
And of course, Ned's going to yell at me now because I always have to qualify everything. Of course, we're not talking about, obviously there's some times when you have to take a stand. But in general, taking a stand isn't always needed.
Now's the time for Sue to issue a disclaimer that we do not have a perfect marriage. We fight all the time.
We do too.
We don't fight all the time, but she would just as soon say that we do fight all the time. And
we banter.
Yes, we banter.
We banter. And, I think it's learning to respect each other's needs, because I wasn't diagnosed till I was in my 50s. And then I also have dyslexia, so I have a bunch of triggers about being stupid. So I work real hard at
Janine, where did you are anything but stupid. I can tell just talking to you. You're very smart.
Well, but I didn't think that for years and years. Yeah. So I can't underestimate, or I can't say enough, really, for the work you both do and your commitment to this. And it's not easy stuff, and you're a voice out there that people can go to and trust, and it's sort of this beacon in the middle of the storm sometimes that, there is a different way, and so thank you.
Well, thank you for those encouraging words, and we really have fun doing it, and we see the greatness in ADD, not just the problematic part of it, and we and we have fun with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can tell. You laugh a lot, and you don't take each other quite too seriously.
No, you can't.
We don't have much grim determination, I'll say that.
We'll just keep using the strategies we've been using and being gentle with each other and try and listen and not be so bullheaded. And I think it'll work.
Yeah, it'll work. It obviously is working. Enjoy the next 30 years.
Hey, thank you so much.
All right.
And it's been delightful talking with both of you.
Thanks,
so
Janine.
Nice to talk to you, Janine.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's our show, our very special show, featuring my wife, the inimitable Sue George Hallowell. Do you have any closing remarks, sweetheart?
I just want to say thank you to all the callers today. I've always felt like it's such a privilege to be able to get a little insight into people's stories, and everyone today just had such incredible stories that I'm sure that many of you out there share many of the same issues. And so I thank them for being willing to call in and to share their stories with us and help others along the way.
Yeah, absolutely, Sue. And the major theme of our show is the power of connection. And we really depend on you listeners for that. And so please write us, call us, be in touch with us, comments, stories, suggestions. We love hearing from you. We'll do another show like this soon, I hope. Love to get your input and love to create the force field of connection that really is the key to pretty much everything good in life. Well, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell saying goodbye for me and for my wife, Sue. Until next time. Well, that's going to do it for today. I hope you all had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot. If you did, please tell your friends. We're trying to grow our audience, and the best way to do that is for you to tell other people about us. Thank you for all of you who reached out, and please, if any of you feel moved to write a question, Write it, email it, record it, whatever. We will almost definitely be airing your question, and I'll get a chance to take a stab at providing my best answer that I can come up with. If you have a question or comment you'd like us to include in a future episode, write it or record it and send it to, here you come, connect at distractionpodcast.com. Send it to connect, the word connect, at distractionpodcast.com. Remember, please, to follow Distraction on social media and subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen so you'll never miss an episode. I'm now also on TikTok, if you can believe that. I'm loving TikTok. It's perfect format. 60-second bits about different parts of ADHD. So you can find me there too. My username is @DrHallowell. I'm Dr. Ned Hallowell. Thank you so much for joining us today. I love this audience. I just appreciate lending me your ears, as it were. Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. Our recording engineer and editor is the amazingly talented Scott Persson. And our producer is the also amazingly talented Sarah Guertin. Thank you all, and see you next time. The episode you just now heard, was made possible by my good friends at Omega Bright Wellness. Get a free bottle of Omega Bright CBD Full Spectrum Soft Gels with free shipping when you buy one bottle of their 7010 MD Omega-3. Use offer code NED, that's my name, at omegabrightwellness.com.